It appears wanton killings and abductions across Nigeria is taking a toll on investment in the country. According to data from the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, 24 states did not record foreign investment in 2021, while the country generated a total of $698.7 million from foreign direct investment in the same year. Many groups like the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, the Jumatu Nazirul Islam, led by Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Sa'ad Abubakar, some state governments and the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, have criticized the federal government over its failures to address rising insecurity in the country. This is linked, but what we're looking at, according to MBS, MBS is saying that 24 states did not record, out of 36 states, did not record foreign investment in 2021.
10 out of 24 states. 10 states: Bayelsa, Ebonyi, Gombe, Jigawa, Kebbi, Kogi, Plateau, Taraba, Yobe, Zamfara. Now look at some of these states. You can yourself can guess why it's going to be difficult to attract investment. People want places that are safe.
Very safe.
They want to be sure that their investments are safe. Even companies, foreign companies resident in Nigeria, they are constantly doing survey.
Yes.
They want to know
security
places where they can invest. Are some places no-go areas? You can imagine if MTN were to go and build base stations in some parts of Border North. The following day, those bad boys will come and set the place ablaze. And you know, when you set up a base station, you are putting a giant generator and your telco mast is there. So they can just go to destroy things. Perhaps even your tanker that bears diesel, will also be there, because you need diesel to fuel those generators. They will come destroy everything. Nobody wants to go into such investment in such places. You have to be sure that this area
is safe. You're using generator. That fact is it makes it more expensive.
Yes.
Not to talk about security.
These people coming to destroy everything. It's just, and every nation needs this foreign direct investment. Look at when Nigeria was in some form of prosperity. The 2012-2013, look at the figures show clearly that we were doing very well. We were doing very well. But today, things have been declining. In fact, since 2016, it has been declining.
Shocker.
It has been declining. And a lot of the factors are evident. The issue of insecurity, if we do not address insecurity, there is no way that Nigeria will prosper, because you need, even this Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, a lot of them have shut down because of the issue of insecurity and all that. Now, even access to dollars, access to foreign exchange is a big problem. Some of them have to source their dollars from the black market, and that is killing. We all know the rate. That's killing. Sometimes they can't even get it. So how can businesses thrive in such a situation?
Yes, 600.
Remember when we had this issue with British Airways, that they were wondering why it was cheaper for people to fly from Ghana than Nigeria
to London.
And those guys said, see, your own exchange rate has so much volatility. In the case of the Ghanaians, we can be sure the exchange rate is stable.
Very stable.
The South Africans, the exchange rate is stable. It's been stable for many years. Yes, it's been stable. 6.9 to the naira, to the dollar, very stable. In our own case,
so consistent.
This in the last 6 months,
years.
we've seen that volatility.
No
one is sure. I think yesterday it exchanged for 580. 580. Even in
as of last week.
You know? Yes. There were it got to 590 at a point.
As of last week.
If someone told you so a few years back that it will get to 590, you will have argued. Yes. But there are people who are projected that, okay, this thing could get to 600 this year. There are some companies that have that projection. Yes, but it doesn't allow for planning. Government has to make the business environment conducive. Investors don't like that volatility. They want to be able to plan.
Because even the United States and the British embassy, sometimes they give travel advisory to their citizens and they list all the states.
Yeah.
And it's difficult that when even governors, when they go abroad, they are seeking investors, they are doing everything. But if we don't have adequate security,
those are
infrastructure can.
Those are jamborees actually, because like the former governor in Lagos said, just do your job, the investment will come. Because normally they will have the data. What's the ratio of credit that they can get? What's the stability of the naira? Like, I'm sure you will remember that for about 7-8 years, we were exchanging the dollar on the precipice of 200 naira, 190 to 210. I think from 2010 to around 2014-15, when the slide down was, that was the period we were quoting, that the investments were coming in. Because the naira at that point in time was extremely stable. You can work within the range of 10 naira.
Whatever projection was 560.
So it's basically the failure of government to secure us. Government programs, let me use that, economic programs in the last few years.
People also find it difficult to repatriate even
and then you can get your money out. Why you bring your money?
You know, they can't repatriate their investment.
There was a time
you make gains, you can't repatriate your gains in dollars. It's something that they don't like. Foreign airlines are complaining.
Not only foreign airlines. You and I know that there was a time you can use ATM of certain banks in Nigeria, abroad. Because it's been dollarized. Try that now. No, just one transaction will take away. We wipe up your life savings.
$70 a whole month.
It will wipe you out your life savings. Things are that bad. People cannot send their children to school because they cannot afford the fees. Even those who think you think they are very comfortable are now struggling to pay school fees of children abroad. And all this is failure or lack of planning that are basic. Because if our schools are working, there will be no need unless you just want to show off to send your children abroad. And once you have no choice to send them, even as low level as Republic of Benin, are taking Nigerian money for schools.
Whereas people used to come to our
Nigeria.
country, you know, some of
South Africans
yes,
came to UI.
Those what they call frontline states. A lot of their people came to even ABU.
Yeah,
ABU here. You know, a lot of their
people
it's
a systemic failure.
Went to school here. You know, so but now. Who would want to even try that? It's so we just got to do a lot more.
So the pressure on the dollar or the naira is too much.
All right. So joining us via Zoom for more discussion on this and economics, Adedoyin Ademola. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, viewers.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Mr. Ademola.
Baba, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm not an economist. I'm a reporter like you. I'm a journalist.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, looking at this report from the National Bureau for Statistics saying that 10 out of 24 states did not have a record of foreign investment in 2021. What do you make of it?
Well, it shows vividly the sorry state of our country, the sorry state of our the economic situation we are confronted with is a very, very serious one. As a matter of fact, when you look at what we have recorded since 2015, the foreign direct investment, between 2015 and now, we probably will be talking of about just $7.1 billion US.
Yeah.
Whereas our small neighbor, Ghana could be talking of close to they'll be talking of close to $30 billion. Sorry, $19 billion. 19, where we are talking of 17. this 2021, while we are talking of a 630 something million dollars, Ghana is looking at $3 billion. That is what they are looking at. Last 2020, Ghana has the highest in West Africa. You know, based on $2.6 billion. Now, what that is telling you is that we have some fundamental issues. You've spoken about the insecurity we have in the country is getting very, very serious. Between 2012 and 2014, we were talking of a situation where we were doing like 2-point-something billion on an annual basis. Okay, since 2015, it's been something below 1.9, 1.7, and it has gone so down that this year we are talking of even 680, the lowest in the last 10 years. So that will tell you it is a very, very serious situation. Now you are combining insecurity with the situation we have in the power sector, where you are talking of consistent declining power failure. So when you don't have when you cannot have affordable and reliable power, and that is also compounded by the fact that your foreign exchange policy is unstable and Naira continues to decline. So it is not a place, it's not an ambience for foreign direct investment. So, and you see, the problem is further made more worrisome when you put the fact into consideration that the IOCs are divesting from our country. Yeah. So you are talking of a situation where FDI is dwindling seriously, and it's compounded by the fact of divestment by IOCs and other investors. So it is a recipe for grave economic crisis, and that is what we are confronted with.
So what can we do? What can we do? As in, how can we solve this problem?
Yeah. You see, it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. We have spoken about tackling the issue of security head on. We've spoken about that, and I mean, it's in the public domain that the situation today. I mean, we give credit to our force, to our soldiers, to our officers. They are trying, but we need to evolve a policy that will confront this security issue head on. Babajide just spoke about Nasir El-Rufai, Governor Nasir El-Rufai, talking about carpet bombing. The guy is talking out of frustration. The government is frustrated. Yes. So the point is that when Super Tucano came, okay, some of us thought that now that you said that these guys are no longer bandits, that they are terrorists. We had expected some actions. We had expected that you take the battle to their zone. But what we continue to see is that we are reactive. We are not proactive. So the problem of security needs to be frontally tackled before we can be talking of really sorting this problem. When you don't have a secure environment, no investor will bring his money. No investor will come and invest in any enterprise in Nigeria. Then secondly, when you have a situation where in the last 30 years, we have been talking about power. Every government that comes promises that, okay, we are going to tackle this, and it continues. You know what we have been experiencing in the last 6 months in this country. That is not an interest investors will come to. So the government must put in place some short-term, medium-term, and long-term measures that will bring back the confidence of investors for them. This is when you talk of that we have very large markets in Nigeria. I tell people I dispute it. Because I also tell you, large in what area? You are talking of 200 million people, where you have over 20 to 30 million people, students, pupils out of school. You are talking of poverty ridden hundreds of millions of people. You are talking of people who have not gone to school. You are talking of people who are not qualified to even be employed. So what are the goods and services you want to bring here that will even make a lot of profit to the investor? So it is a very, very serious problem that needs to be tackled fundamentally. Education, we need to tackle it. Security, we need to tackle it. We need consistent policy in the area of foreign exchange. And we need to tackle the issue of power. Not just that power is not available, it's not affordable. So how do you now invest in such an environment? So the government, what I'm saying in essence, is that the government will have to tackle security. The government will have to evolve policies that will make, if I'm not sure of what will become of value of Naira tomorrow, how do you expect me to bring my investment down here? So these are policies that it should not be a knee-jerk thing. It should not be an ad hoc thing. there should be consistent policy that will give investors. Look at what we are facing in the oil sector today. We have a situation where it takes almost forever for the Petroleum Industry Act to be put in place. So a lot of investments have been lost. Today, what we are losing in that sector is monumental, apart from what is being stolen. So the point is, government needs to really go back to the drawing board. The Presidential Economic Advisory Board needs to go back to the drawing board and rework the economy of this country. That is my take.
No, that even takes us to the point you just raised now, the Economic Advisory team or council. Is it that they don't hold meetings, or that their suggestions are not implemented? Because we see some brilliant people on that team.
By now we should have gotten results.
We see brilliant people.
Yeah. Babajide, I must say that I'm as surprised as you are when you have a team like Professor Doyin Salami, when you have people like Bismarck Rukwane, and so on and so forth. What you would expect is that they should be on a weekly basis telling the government, telling Mr. President that this is the way out. But you see, I've always told people it was President Olusegun Obasanjo, while in power, who said that yours is to advise, mine is to reject or to accept it. So I wouldn't know if these pieces of advice are being given to the government. I wouldn't know if the government is complying. But because these are men who have made their marks in their different areas of economics and management, I would expect that it is that they are making a difference or the opt-out of the place. It is that they are making a difference or the opt-out of the place. Because what we are seeing now, since that body was put up, there was a lot of optimism. There was a lot of excitement when the team was constituted. We thought it was going to make a lot of difference, but by God, up to now, I cannot see the difference. So the point is that if they are making recommendations that are not being complied with, the advice that are not being heeded, then they should please get out of the place and say we are no longer going to have our name soiled, because we are not getting it right at all.
The power issue, let's talk about that for a bit. What really can we do about the power issue? Because I know that in some countries they treat the power as a national security issue, but in some other countries they allow small areas like Switzerland. There are some cantons that generate their own power. And I think the governor of Lagos, about 20 years ago, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, also tried to bring in PPP at a point that were resisted. Do we need to go the whole log, or we can come to a middle ground where government will control certain aspects and the private sector will come in? Because there was so much hope when they announced General Electric and Siemens coming in, but nothing has happened since that big announcement.
Well, Osiare, let me also say that you see, we are talking of we have different phases of what we are talking about. We are talking of generation, we are talking of transmission, we are talking of distribution.
Yeah.
And when you look at these three core areas, the first issue we are going to be talking about is that for generation, we are going to be talking of hydro, we are going to be talking of gas
or nuclear,
which we have in abundance. Have we really utilized this? Okay, so from generation, there's a lot of problem. Transmission is still effectively under the control of the federal government. Of course, me and you know that anything that is in the control of federal government, when it comes to business, we know the way it is. Distribution, 100%. What you have had now is that you've handed over this distribution sector to Tisco, and you had an agreement with them. You told them that they are going to be able to charge market reflective prices. It is there in what they sign black and white. But they got in there, these guys went to bank, borrowed money to be able to do what they are doing. You told them to borrow money. Now they got in there, you said no, they cannot borrow. I mean that they cannot charge
economic rates. Yeah.
Yes. So if you are not saying that, so what I'm saying is that these three core areas are beset with a lot of issues, critical issues. So the issue is this: you just mentioned what Asiwaju Tinubu did while he was the governor. Now, what we need to do here is that, in fact, we need to look at the status book in respect of the power sector in this country. You cannot have a situation where I will generate power and I need to take it to the national grid before it will not be distributed to all parts of the country. What we should be talking about today is let us centralize. Let everybody local government be able to generate power if it can.
University campuses generate their own power.
Yes, if the university can generate power, let them generate. Let them do their transmission and distribute. So, let's say to Chile, we need to look at the laws. We need to look at what the laws inhibiting investment in that sector. That is called to this matter. And when we have done that, while we are doing that, we also need to have a situation where I tell people today, these costs are the little boys of the industry. You don't have like this when you go to. But even when you generate, before you take it to transmission, you lost a lot of energy. Transmission is the equipment. What we have there is old, so you don't have them high up there. They lose a lot of energy before they even get to this point.
Okay, I'd like to thank you for your intervention, Mr. Adedoyin Ademola. Thank you for your intervention on this topic.
Yeah.